You are watching the API masterclass and we are learning how to build production grade API. So in this video we will learn how we can dockerize our app. So this will be the final step in our project. All we have to do is dockerize the app. So we have built authentication, authorization, rate limiting, we have built our own logging framework, we have added documentation, we have added linting. Okay, now the final piece of the puzzle is to dockerize our app. So with the help of dockerization, it will be easy for us to work and deploy. Okay, so now if you see, we are running our npm run dev separately, we are running our npm run log separately, then we are doing docker compose up to run the redis and mongodb and rabbitmq, right? So what we will do, we'll unite all this together. So with one command we'll be able to spin up our app, okay, be it for development or be it for deployment. Okay, so first what I'll do, I'll come to the project root, okay, and create a new file, call it as docker file. Okay, then so what we will add here, so first thing that we need is the base image. So I'll say from, okay, node 20 alpine 3.16. so this will be my base image. Then what I will do, I will change the working directory. Okay, so I'll say work dir, this will be /user/app. Okay, then what I will do, I will copy, okay, what I will copy, I will copy package.json to the project root. Then what I will do, I will run npm install. Okay, so I'll run the npm install so that it will create the node modules from the given package.json that we have copied just in the previous line. Okay, then what I have to copy, I have to copy the src folder. So I'll say /src, copy it to /src. Okay, then what else we need to copy, we need to copy the .env file. So I'll say copy .env file to .env file. Okay, and what else we need to copy, we need to copy, can you guess, the swagger.yml. Okay, so swagger.yml to swagger.yml. Okay, then I'll say cmd. Okay, what command it will run, so it will run npm, okay, run start. Okay, so it will run the start command, and for our log processor we will override this command in the docker compose. Okay, so this is the docker file. Okay, then we'll come to docker compose. So if you see here, we have service, mongo, redis and rabbitmq. So in this line we'll add two more service, one is for our movies app and one is for our logs app. Okay, so what we will do, we'll say movies. Okay, so build will pass the context. Okay, context will be the root context, and what will be the docker file, it will be the docker file that we created just now. Okay, then ports, so what ports it will expose, so what I am doing, I am exposing port 3000 in my system and I am mapping it to port 8000 from the docker container. So if you remember, on port 8000 the main movies app is running, that I am exposing into the host system as port 3000. Okay, and there should be a space here. Okay, then what we will do, we will add the env file. Okay, so what will be the env file, it will be .env. Okay, then we'll add a command. So what command it will run? It will run npm run start. So this is the same command that we have given in Docker file. I am overriding with the same command. Okay. Then depends on. So what it depends on? It depends on Mongo. Okay. It depends on Redis as well, and it depends on the RabbitMQ. So I will add this in the configuration. And what we will do? We will copy this one. Okay. And paste it here and rename it to log service. Okay, everything remains same except this port that we have mapped for the log is 8081. This I will map it to port 3001 in the host system. Okay, env file will remain the same. The command will be npm run log. Okay, so where this command is coming from? So if you see package.json, this is npm run start and this is npm run log. Okay. So this is the Docker compose file where we have added movies and log. Okay. Then what we have to do? We will go to the env file, and if you see here in the all URI and this host, we are using localhost. Okay. Now, since everything is running inside the Docker or inside the same network, what we have to do? We have to change the host name or this local host to the Docker Compose service name. Okay. So this Mongo URI local host, what we will do? We will check the host name for the Mongo. Okay, and use that instead. So this is no longer localhost, but it will use the Mongo service name as its host name. Okay. So the same thing what we have to do in Redis also. So I'll copy the Redis service name and add it to Redis host. Okay. And same thing we have to do for RabbitMQ. Okay. So I will add it here. Okay. And here what I will do, I'll remove all the quotation marks, and there should not be any space between equal and the key value pair. Okay. So I'll remove all the quote marks. Okay. So ideally the env file should not have any quote marks. Then what we will do? We will take some terminal space here. Okay. And what we will do? We will say docker compose of dash dash build. Okay. We'll see if there are any errors. So what will happen? This will try to build the Docker image. Okay. Now is this going to work? Ideally it should work, but I found one problem. It was not able to connect to the RabbitMQ. Okay. So let us run this one and see. So it is building. Okay. It might take some time. Okay. So it has build and spin up the servers. Okay, so if we scroll up, so if you see this line failed to connect to RabbitMQ. Okay, it is coming from the movies container. Okay, and if we scroll up, if you see it has successfully connected to DB. Okay, and so if you see again it has failed to connect. Okay, so if you see successfully connected to DB, log server is running on port 8081. So this is coming from our log container. Okay, and okay, so that means we are not able to connect to the RabbitMQ. Okay, so here you can see the log error message. Okay, so I was initially not sure why it is not able to connect, because I checked all the documentation and all Stack Overflow. I asked ChatGPT many times why it is not able to connect, and I did not seem to find any issue here with this code. Okay, so what I did, I was playing around with this Docker desktop. Okay, so I was in the container and I have opened the REST Express API. Okay, here if you go into this REST Express movie API, here we can check the error message. So it is saying successfully connected to DB, server started on port 8080, but it is saying failed to connect to RabbitMQ. Okay, error connection refused. Okay, so it is not able to connect to this host. Okay, so I was stuck with this problem initially. So what I did, I stopped this server from here. Okay, so let me stop this one, then I'll start this one again. Okay, so now if you see, successfully connected to DB, successfully connected to RabbitMQ, and server started on port 8000. Strange, right? So all I did was stopped and restarted the service. So at this point I realized what was happening. So by the time the RabbitMQ server is up, but it is not yet ready to accept connection, but at this time our app server or our movie app is running and it is trying to connect to the RabbitMQ. But this particular moment the RabbitMQ server might be up, but it is still kind of cold booting, so it is not yet accepting connection. So that's why it is saying connection refused. But after some time, when I connect to this Docker desktop, stopped the app, restarted the app or this particular REST API container, this movies container, it was immediately able to connect. Okay, so it basically needs some time between the RabbitMQ server and the app server. Okay, so to fix this problem, what I have done, so now what I will do, I will open another terminal and I will say docker compose down. Okay, so I will close the Docker instance. Okay, so it will stop the server. Okay, so if you scroll to the end, so everything exited, I will say Control C. Okay, now so there was a problem connecting to the RabbitMQ because RabbitMQ was not yet ready to accept connection. So how can we fix this one? So we will add a retry logic in our RabbitMQ connection. Okay, so here I'll come to src config and RabbitMQ. Okay, so here what I will do, I will add two variables. Okay, one is I'll say const, okay, max retry count. Okay, so this is the maximum time I want to retry connecting it to the RabbitMQ. Okay, then what I will do, I will add another variable let, okay, I'll say current count and I'll mark it as 0. Okay, so every time there is an error, what I will do, I will check if the current count is less than max count. Okay, so if, okay, current count is less than max retry count, what we will do, we will retry the connection. And here what I will do, I will say I'll add a log statement. Okay, so log, okay, retrying to connect to, okay, RabbitMQ, okay, dot, and this will be double B RabbitMQ. Okay, and here I will again call this function connect RabbitMQ. Okay, now two things. First is I will have to increment the counter, current counter plus. Okay, now this is one time connection, it failed, then I'll try to connect again, but between these two connection I'll give some wait time. Okay, I don't want to hit the RabbitMQ server in a loop and trying to hit it like an AK-47 every time it will send a request, right? So that way RabbitMQ server will be overloaded with failed connection. So what I should do, I should wait for some time. Okay, so for this what I'll do, I'll write a simple sleep function. Okay, so I'll say const sleep, okay, equals to, it will take a parameter, okay, millisecond, and what it will do, it will return a new promise. Okay, and inside that promise what we will do, we will resolve. What will resolve? Okay, we'll resolve a set timeout. Okay, we'll call the resolve function, and the time duration will be the given time in millisecond. Okay, and what we will do, before doing this await RabbitMQ connection, what we will do, we will say await, okay, sleep for 5000 millisecond or 5 seconds. Okay, so here if there is an error, okay, we will add fail to connect to RabbitMQ, okay, and current count it will check. So even if after 5 times or whatever number you have configured, it still has not been able to connect, then that's okay, it will fail like how it was failing previously. But now we will wait for some time and we'll do a attempt. Okay, and here what I will do, I will move this counter from here to here. Okay, so I want to increment the failed counter here. So after incrementing the counter, we will check this condition. Okay, so what we will do, we will come here. Then what we will do, we will run the Docker Compose up with the build flag. So let us run this one. Okay, so if you see here, this movies container, it is saying successfully connected to RabbitMQ and server started on port 8000. Okay, so if you see here, it has failed. Okay, it has failed once, but after some time it was successful. Okay, successful here once in the movies and another time in the log. Both this container, it is successfully able to connect to the RabbitMQ. Okay, so now if we go to Docker desktop, we'll go to container, we'll open the REST API. Okay, we'll open the Express, this one movies API container. Okay, here if you see, it has failed once, okay, then it has trying, then finally it was successfully connected to RabbitMQ. Okay, successfully connected to DB as well as server started on port 8000. Okay, so now everything is working. So it took few reattempts, but after some time it is successfully able to connect to the RabbitMQ. Okay, so now what we will do, we will come to our health check page. We'll check few things. Okay, so this is the port 3000, right? Now we are running on port 3000, so I will enter this one. Okay, so it is saying MongoDB down, so if we refresh it, we'll get the proper data. So it takes some time to do the connection, right? So we might not always get the correct status, it is might be booting up. Okay, so if I keep on pressing refresh, we'll get this same information. Okay, so all our services are running and we are able to connect. Okay, we will check the ping message. Okay, so ping, and we are able to see the pong message. Okay, then this is the docs page. Okay, so if you see, we are able to open the doc that is running on port 3000, and from where this port 3000 is coming, this is coming from the Docker that is running. Okay, inside we have the main movie app, we have the log app, and we have Redis, MongoDB, and RabbitMQ. Okay, now our Docker setup is complete. Now we have essentially completed the full flow of building a production grade API. So we have seen how to set up services in Docker. Then we have learned about authentication and authorization. Then we learned about rate limiting. We learned about documentation. Okay, we learned about authorization and authentication. Then we built a beautiful log framework. Okay, now finally we have completed the Docker setup. So with this, I am officially concluding this API masterclass, building production grade API. I really hope you learned a lot of things, like how things are built in production. Okay, and if you have any thought, any queries, any questions, feel free to put it in the comment box, and share this video with your friends as much as possible. So this will help them to learn, and it will help me as a small YouTube channel to grow. Give this video a thumbs up, and if you have not subscribed yet, do subscribe. I'll be bringing more such content to this channel. Okay, and I'll see you in the next topic and in the next video.